For over 1 billion people, Muhammad is the final prophet. For others, he's a historical figure shrouded in legend. But when we set aside Islamic tradition and examine the primary sources, both Islamic and non-Islamic, a clearer picture emerges. This is not the mystical founder of a peaceful religion. This is a man whose life included early trauma, alleged spiritual encounters, warfare, execution of dissenters, young wives, broken treaties, and a painful death. This isn't about opinions. It's about evidence. If you want truth, not tradition, then keep watching. Muhammad was born around 570 AD in Mecca into the Quraysh tribe, one of the city's most powerful clans. His father, Abdullah, died before he was born. His mother, Amina, died when he was 6. Raised by his grandfather and then Uncle Abu Talib, he grew up in a deeply pagan society. The Kaaba, the central shrine in Mecca, housed over 300 idols. The Quraysh controlled this religious economy. As a young man, Muhammad earned a reputation for being trustworthy. He worked in the caravan trade and eventually married a wealthy widow, Khadija, who was 15 years older. This gave him financial security and social status. For years, he reportedly spent time in spiritual retreat in a cave near Mecca, disturbed by the idolatry and corruption of his people. At age 40, while meditating in the cave of Hira, Muhammad claimed he was visited by a spirit who grabbed him and commanded, "Read," even though he was illiterate. Terrified, he ran home to Khadija, saying he feared he was possessed. It was Khadija, not Muhammad, who sought confirmation. She consulted her cousin, Waraka ibn Nawfal, a Christian heretic, who declared that Muhammad must be a prophet like Moses. For 13 years in Mecca, Muhammad preached monotheism and warned of judgment. But most Meccans rejected him. He gained few followers. Facing growing hostility, he fled to Yathrib in 622 AD, a city later renamed Medina, city of the Prophet. This migration, called the Hijra, marks the start of the Islamic calendar. In Medina, Muhammad ruled. He united the tribes with a political constitution and quickly built a theocratic state. But power didn't come through persuasion alone. He began raiding Meccan caravans, an act of economic warfare. The Battle of Badr was a major victory for Muhammad. He claimed divine help, but the pattern was clear. Islam began to spread not through preaching alone, but through conquest and fear. The Quran reflects this shift. Early Meccan verses speak of patience and peace. Later, Medinan verses command fighting, subjugation, and dominance. For example, fight those who do not believe in Allah until they pay the jizya with willing submission and feel themselves subdued. Muhammad's rise involved not only battlefields, but targeted killings. When poets criticized him, they were executed. Ka'b ibn al-Ashraf, a Jewish poet who mocked Muhammad, was assassinated at Muhammad's order. Another case, Asma bint Marwan, a mother of 5 who composed poetry against him, was killed in her sleep by a follower. Muhammad reportedly said, "No 2 goats will butt their heads about her." He also allowed tactical lying. When Abdullah ibn Unais assassinated Khalid bin Sufyan by pretending to be friendly, Muhammad praised him. These are not fringe traditions. They are in the most trusted Islamic sources. The pattern: dissent wasn't debated. It was silenced. Permanently. Muhammad's personal life also raises serious questions. He had at least 11 wives, not counting slave women. The most controversial is Aisha, the daughter of Abu Bakr. She was married to Muhammad when she was 6, and the marriage was consummated when she was 9. Muhammad was over 50. This is recorded in Sahih al-Bukhari 5134. Aisha reported, "The Prophet married me when I was 6 years old and consummated the marriage with me when I was 9. This is not debated among Muslim scholars. Some try to justify it by appealing to Arabian norms, but the historical fact remains. The founder of Islam had a physical relationship with a prepubescent child. Another case, Safiya bint Huyayya. She was a Jewish woman captured during the conquest of Khaybar. Her husband was killed. That same night, Muhammad took her as his wife. Muslim sources say her beauty was noted, and she was given to Muhammad as part of the war bounty. He consummated the marriage while they were still traveling. These stories are not attacks. They are documented facts. The moral standard of a prophet must be higher than culture. The God of the Bible never excuses such acts based on the customs of the day. After conquering Mecca, Muhammad continued to consolidate power, but his life ended strangely. After the conquest of Khaybar, a Jewish woman named Zainab bint al-Harith gave him poisoned meat to avenge her family. Muhammad tasted the poison and spat it out, but it still entered his system. Years later, during his final illness, he said, "I feel my aorta is being severed from the poison I ate at Khaybar." This is significant. The Quran says of false prophets, if he had forged a saying, we would have cut his aorta. Islamic sources admit the poison affected him until death. Was this divine judgment? His final days were marked by intense pain and confusion. He reportedly tried to write a statement, but his companions argued, and he never dictated it. He died in Aisha's house at around 62 years old. Muhammad was not just a religious leader. He was a war general, a political strategist, a polygamist, and a man surrounded by bloodshed and power struggles. His life, as recorded by Islam's own sources, includes a spiritual encounter that terrified him, marrying and consummating with a 9-year-old, approving assassinations and torture, beheading hundreds of captives, taking women as war prizes, dying in pain, possibly fulfilling a verse about false prophets. The Bible gives us a different standard for a prophet: holiness, compassion, truth, and consistency. Jesus said, "By their fruits you shall know them," and he declared, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." The question is not whether Muhammad was powerful. He was. The question is whether he was sent by God. So open the Gospel of John. Read it. Compare the life of Jesus with Muhammad. Only one walked sinlessly. Only one rose from the dead. Only one offers true salvation. Share this with someone who needs the truth. Jesus didn't claim to be a prophet. He claimed to be God.